Frosty, 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 Frosty.
Hey guys, welcome to another week of Frosty Vlogs. If you're wondering why I'm sitting like this, it's because I'm trying to keep the light as out of my eyes as possible, although I noticed that I now have another light in my eye, so I guess it's really hard to avoid it when you wear glasses. Awesome. So this week I have a fun update for you. I have fixed my laptop. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, is the process of it breaking down and me being able to fix it again. So here goes nothing. About a year ago, actually maybe two, because it would have been the winter sale of 2015, I purchased, amongst other things, the HD Fable remake, because I loved Fable as a kid, honestly, and there was parts to it that I didn't understand. Like, I remember buying the nickname Arseface, and then getting that horrible haircut and tattoo section mini quest thing that you could get. And my dad didn't know that I bought the nickname, and I'd forgotten that that's what I did. So everyone kept calling me Arseface, and he thought it was because I did the mission, and had no idea it was because I actually named myself Arseface. So I wanted to recapture that moment, you know, and I've played 2, and I've played 3, and I think I've only finished 2 and 3. I've never finished the first one, so that was another big deal for me, is I was finally going to beat the first Fable. But when I tried to play it, my computer just couldn't handle it. I didn't know what was wrong. You know, I was as up to date as I could be as far as I knew. But admittedly, I'd had the laptop since 2011, so maybe it needed to be updated a little bit. So I went through Steam to update my graphics driver, or graphics card, or whatever the hell it was. And I think it took me to a Toshiba website, and I downloaded AMD Radeon or something, and it came with some Raptor recording device or something or other. I didn't care for it, is the point. And as I was playing, or as I tried to play, my computer would like freak out every now and then. So I ran a virus scan, and it said, "Oh yeah, we got some problems here, buddy." And so I figured, well, great. The only thing I've recently downloaded was that graphics card update. So thanks a lot, Steam and Toshiba, for ruining my laptop. So I got rid of it. When it came up, there was some warning about if you get rid of this, it might get rid of other stuff as well. And I was like, it's not going to get rid of anything important because it's the only thing that I had like that, right? Well, turns out it must have gotten rid of something important, because when I tried to play a game, it wouldn't. It wouldn't play any games. Not one of them. Not a single one. Plus side, I was able to return Fable because I hadn't played enough of it, and I'd only had it for a few days. So there was that. I didn't know what to do, and I guess I just kind of accepted it because I don't remember going through many solutions to try to fix it. But I do remember that months later, I was on a bit of a chipmunk spree. I just watched Squeakquel because I've already seen the first one a few times, and I've seen Chipwrecked. I wasn't really all that impressed, but I've seen it. So I watched the Squeakquel. Fun fact, Squeakquel, favorite Alvin and the Chipmunks movie. It's actually pretty good. So then I decided to watch Road Trip, because I was like, you know what? Squeakquel was pretty good. Who knows about Road Trip, right? Maybe it's not a total sellout. And honestly, I don't watch it for the stories. I watch it for the music. So screw off if you're going to make fun of me for it. But in the middle of watching, my laptop shut down, and I thought, that's weird. Maybe it overheated. I check it. It's fine. It's doing just A-okay. And then it comes back on, and it's updating to Windows 10. And something I'd like to say, just for the record, I had tried to upgrade to Windows 10. That was my one fix that I thought of, was maybe if I update to Windows 10, it'll give me some new drivers or graphics cards or whatever. Something will update with it that will let me play my games again. Unfortunately, every time I tried to update, it would tell me, nope, sorry, you don't qualify. You can't do that. Or no, it wouldn't do that. It would tell me that it just wouldn't go. Like, it would just find a blockage. And it was like, we don't know what's wrong, man. We're sorry. So I eventually just said, okay, fine. And whenever it popped up, I would just cancel it, because it was like, you're not going to do it anyway. Just stop trying to give me this update. So when it started updating on its own, I was a little confused, because it was like, I didn't ask for this. This wasn't my choice. You're giving this to me as a gift. which I also now know happened because a buddy of mine actually had the same thing happen to him, where he was just fine with his OS, and then it was like, you want Windows 10? Here, have Windows 10. And he was like, I didn't want it, but it's updating now. I'm like, I'm so sorry, because at that point, mine had already updated. And one of the things I learned is when your computer updates to Windows 10, it can just shut down randomly for a little while, once a week. Then not long after that, like a week or two, it starts shutting down once every 3 days. And a few days after that, it starts going off once a day. And then it goes off once every few hours. And then it'll just go off whenever it feels like it, no real time. But you'll notice that when it goes off, it'll keep shutting down every time you turn it on for the next 5 or 6 times in a row. And I'm not exaggerating. I have counted. And that happened, and it was awful. So it had updated, and it could play games, which was awesome. But I couldn't play games for long before it would just shut down. And I liked using Discord with my buddies because that meant I could talk to them, right? Unfortunately, even when you're trying to talk to them, it adds more strain. So I had to stop talking to them so I could play MMOs, but I just would play them alone, which is not the most fun way to play an MMO. So it updated, and I panicked, and I tried to figure out what was wrong, but I didn't look into it until a few months later, because it didn't really become much of a problem until I started streaming with my buddies. That was over the summer of 2016, and it was probably a few weeks into it, I think, because we would stream every Sunday night, and we used the laptop to read comments, because while streaming through the PS4, you can put comments up on the screen. You can see more of the screen if you don't. So we just kind of figured it would be easier to, look at the screen on my laptop and read the comments from there. Unfortunately, whenever it would crash, we couldn't communicate to people, so people would say things to us, and we wouldn't know what they were saying, but we would get alerts through the PS4 that, hey, people are talking to you, why don't you say something to them? So I decided to look into it, because I was like, listen, I want to make this Twitch thing work, let's figure this out. And in doing so, I found out that what you really need to do is revert right away, because you can revert to within like the last month of your OS or whatever. And it was like, well, I'd lose my games, which sucks, but I couldn't really play them anyway, so I was willing to do it, except for the fact that it had been long over a month. It had been like 2 or 3 months when I first discovered it. And for the rest of 2016, the only advice I ever got from anyone was to do that exact thing that I could not do. So I looked into factory resetting, because I thought it was the only way. And I didn't look into it for a while. Honestly, I only just recently started looking into it, actually, because I didn't want to lose anything. But when I got the laptop in October, I think it was, or late September, and I started using it in October, I set it up with a wireless transfer of data from my laptop to the Mac. So my save data and stuff is all saved on here. I just need to dig through and find it. So I was like, I can factory reset this laptop. It'll be okay. So I do that. I go through, I reset it, and as I'm trying to reset it, it takes about an hour to reset itself. And I should be clear. What I did is I went to the restore options, and there was a reset to factory settings or something like that. So I did that, but I think I chose the one that would save my programs or something. So I was like, if I can go back to Windows 7 but keep all my stuff, that would be the best option for me. So I get an hour through, it's prepping in that hour, then it starts up 1%, 2%. Magical rule of threes, on 3% it shuts down. I'm not surprised. I'm a little kind of interested the fact that it shows 3%, honestly, because that is a magic number. So says Schoolhouse Rock. And as I'm turning it back on, I get the opening Toshiba satellite logo, which I'm used to seeing every time I turn it on. So used to it that it kind of surprised me, because I was like, I don't even register it anymore. So seeing it, and then the nothing that followed, it really stood out in my brain. And I didn't know what was wrong. But my best guess is that what happened is, while it was deleting Windows 10, and updating to Windows 7, going back to Windows 7, it crashed, lost both OS, and had nothing to go off of, or was just too confused to figure out what to do. So I spent a day wallowing in sadness, complaining to my dad, and this was while I still had my cold, so I sounded very sniffly and unpleasant. And then I decided to call Windows, because I was like, I'd rather just call them. Well, I didn't decide to call. I wanted to email them, to be honest, because I thought, this is their fault. They gave me an update that I didn't ask for when I got it. And then when I was trying to get rid of it, their forced update broke my computer. So if anyone could or should fix it, it's them, because it's their fault. I was using a system through their options to reset back to something of theirs, and their own product wouldn't let me do it. So as I'm doing this, as I'm looking into it, I find out that they don't have an email for customer service, which on the one hand makes sense because a lot of people are probably going to contact them on a daily basis. But on the other hand, it's like, guys, you do computers. Not having computer communication is really dumb. So I put in a ticket for them to give me a call when they're available. And so they do, and I go through the process. And I'm like, I don't know what options to select, so I just picked for whichever sounds right. I don't even remember what I went with at this point. But so I can remember talking to this guy, and he was like, okay, so your computer, we looked it up because I gave him the model number, the serial number, and everything. Your computer could not handle Windows 10. It was never designed to be able to handle it. It's like, oh, great. So you gave me an update that I couldn't use, and that's why my computer kept shutting down. Yeah, that's what happened. So we're gonna do you a solid, like they're doing me a favor here. We're gonna give you Windows 7. It's like, oh, cool. Yeah, we just need your product key. Nope, not gonna do that. Well, can you give me the product key? Can't do that. Why not? Well, here's the thing, guys. I've had this computer for the last 6 years now. I like to touch things. I don't know that it's an autistic tendency. I think it is. Because I will find a surface that just feels different and I will just stroke it. It's the worst thing about sitting on a couch is I will outstretch my arm and just start rubbing the back of it. And there's nothing erotic or anything weird about it. I just touch it because I like to feel different textures. It's honestly just a thing. And because when my hand goes under the laptop, my index finger is right next to where the sticker was, it rubbed it all the time. And because I was a sweaty teenager, I managed to rub out the product number. So I didn't have one of those to give. And so they told me, that's all right, just contact Toshiba because they were the ones who manufactured your laptop. They're the ones who sent the code with it. They should be able to give you the code for free. Cool. Things are looking up for Will. Call Toshiba. I actually had to call them, not put in a ticket for them to call me. Maybe they're not as busy Windows. I don't know. Anyway, I call them, and they're like, yeah, we can't help you. It's like, what do you mean you can't help me? The product key came with the laptop. There's nothing we can do. And I was put on hold twice for them to come to this decision, which tells me that they probably could have helped me, but they wanted to not help me. And that's kind of bothersome, So I'm kind of at a loss here, and I'm trying to decide, what am I going to do now? And they're like, well, your options, there was some way that I could try to get Windows 10 to work again. I was like, pass. I could purchase Windows 7, which having looked into it, it looks like it's still like $150 for Windows 7, which is ridiculous. And I don't know, maybe I was looking at the wrong websites or something, but it's, no, you're 2 OSs behind. You shouldn't cost anyone anything. That's ridiculous. Especially since Windows 10 is going out for free to just some guy who didn't want it. My other option is Toshiba sells recovery software, and you can buy that for $30 for a disc or $40 for a USB. Probably because the USB won't break as easily. I don't know that for sure. That's my theory. Anyway, I say no thank you to all of those because I was told that you could give me my code for free from Windows, so maybe you guys should talk to them and figure out why they're selling information, cashing checks that you guys can't follow through on, or writing checks, I should say, that you can't cash. That's what I meant. So I stopped talking to them, and I didn't cry, but if I would have, I would have cried a lot, I think, because I was broken. My laptop, which I've had for years, is just gone, just dead. It's a brick now, and that's very sad. And that's when I looked into the recovery software, and I was like, well, I have my tax return coming up. And so I was going to use that, a bit of that to pay for some recovery software. But before I did that, I decided to look into recovery options some more. And I found one thing, which was to pull out the battery, unplug the cable for the power outlet, and hold down the power button for like 5 to 10 seconds at a time for a minute. They're very unclear instructions, because it's like, how long do I not hold it down for? This is stupid. Is it 5 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 10 seconds on, 5 seconds off? I don't know. But it didn't work. Everything was still the same when I tried to turn it back on. And then I just got lucky. I got so lucky because I found one, and it said to hold down 0 when you're starting up the laptop. And I don't remember if I was supposed to have it unplugged or not or what. But it had said that some Toshiba products come with a factory reset option, where holding down 0 as it's powering on will activate a factory reset. And so I did this, and it worked. It wanted to reset to its original settings, and I let it, and I went through all the recommended stuff, and I got to choose a new name for my user, which is great because I'm not the person that I was 6 years ago. I've chosen a new name for myself, and so I was happy to be able to put that in. New password, which felt good to change. And then it took me 8 hours to update 200. It's 199, but I'm rounding up to 200 updates from Windows, plus 8 recommended that I still don't think have gone through. And then the last few days, it's like 2 or 3 every morning. It resets itself at 3 a.m. because that's what I have it set to do for more updates. And it's been updating like a fiend, but it's updated as far as I know. Just little ones every now and then. And I've installed all the programs that I think I need to start recording Let's Plays once I have the last touches. And right now I just need audio cables so that I can hear and record what I hear. And I want a USB splitter because I want to use this laptop to record Let's Plays. I just think that it would be better to record them in my room. I also think maybe starting to record vlogs from in there would be better because I can control the lighting better. Because I'm sort of looking at the background, which is, the main reason why I'm breaking my eye concentration. And I'm noticing the changes in light. I'm like, God, this is going to look so weird when people watch this. I hope that they just pay attention to my voice. But it's also messy down here, and I could make it look nicer in my room because I already know the exact spot. I'd be sitting in a chair, and right behind me is a bookshelf. And so I'm going to look mature and nice, except for my clothing and my face, which is fine because that's me. But so, yeah, my plan is to do that. I also want to, like I said, I wanted the USB splitter, right? Because I have so many things, and I have 2 out of 3 working USBs on the laptop. Cause I don't know why the third one broke. It just doesn't register anything that gets plugged into it anymore. And so I need those extra slots. And then I can start doing Let's Plays. And I don't know, maybe I can even start doing streams, which would be awesome because I'd love to start streaming. I'm actually thinking about a few games that would be really fun to stream with you. So that's where I'm at right now. The only downside is yesterday my laptop crashed a couple times, even though it's on Windows 7. But I think the reason is because I didn't really let it sleep or shut down for like a day while it was updating and installing new things. So yesterday was the first day that I really wasn't putting anything on it, but it hadn't really gone to sleep yet because it was so busy updating stuff. And then I let it rest for like 10 minutes, and I had it run for another like 2 or 3 hours just fine. Then it shut down again, and I just left it off the rest of the night. And I turned it back on 4 or 5 hours ago when I got up, and it's been running, just fine all day. It's never had any problems since I turned it back on. And I've had like YouTube going while I was playing stuff on an emulator because I wanted to play a game, but I was also interested in listening to stuff, and it handled it just fine. There wasn't any weird feedback or issues, and I'm really happy about that. So I think everything's going good, and if there are any more problems, I'm just going to keep looking into how to fix them, because that's my main interest at this point, is fixing this laptop and getting it to go. And now I'm just one tax return away from getting you guys Let's Plays, which is going to be awesome, because I'm so excited to start recording them. You have no idea how excited I am. I mean, holy crap, I'm going to be doing something that I've been trying to do for about as long as I've had this laptop, honestly. So here's hoping that comes sooner rather than later. That's all I've got to talk about for today. God, this one ran long. Holy crap. Sorry about that. I just got really excited and wanted to share this story with you. So thank you so much for sticking around. If you felt like sticking around through it, I realized this one ran long, and that's an issue. But I, might be doing more long ones. I don't know. I'm going to see what the future holds for me, honestly. I'm not trying to mess with the ritual here, but what happens, happens, Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great one.